Alright, good morning from the Virginia 5, and we've got a few engine room tasks to be done today, one of which includes jacking the main engine. So, jacking the engine means to actually rotate the crankshaft by hand, which is important because for certain maintenance tasks we need the pistons or the piston rods to be in certain positions. And the only way to do that is to have an ability to roll the crankshaft by hand. So we do have a little warning sign here that says jacking gear engaged, hanging from the throttle. It's because if you actually attempted to run the engine with the jacking gear engaged, you would break it. So we hang this little sign from the throttle. Of course, with the boiler empty, there's not really any chance of someone accidentally trying to start the engine, but it's always good to have a sign just in case. So we will go below decks and see how the engine gets jacked over. Then we can, once we get everything in place, then the crew will be able to take bearing clearances off the main shaft. Alright, so right at the end of the crankshaft here, we have this big gear with teeth. It's called the jacking gear. And normally it doesn't do anything, but it is used for rolling the engine over manually. And to use it, it has this worm gear next to it, and we have to engage the worm gear into the teeth of the jacking gear. So we have our crankshaft all here. Gonna unbolt the worm gear and then slide it over to engage with the teeth of the jacking gear.
Hey, Paul.
All right. Oops, sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna have to turn this till we get it.
We have the worm gear nice and tight there against the jacking gear. We're going to secure it back down. And then on top of the worm gear is a post. We attach a giant ratcheting handle to it. And then a crew member will be able to reef on that ratcheting handle, which will very, very slowly turn the worm gear, which will then turn the jacking gear, which will then turn the crankshaft. It's hard work, and the engine does not go very fast doing this, so the crew often will just change off. Fortunately, we rarely need to move the crankshaft more than a few inches. Now, the ship does not have a clutch, and that means that the crankshaft is permanently connected to the propeller shaft, and that means while we are rotating the crankshaft, the propeller outside the ship is also moving. Again, very slowly. Alright, we've got another engine room task to do today, and that is to take bearing clearances. For that we have this stuff. This is Plastigauge. See, it looks like a little plastic piece of spaghetti. We're going to open the bearings, place some of this inside, and then clamp the bearings back down. This stuff will get squashed flat, and then we can measure how flat it gets, which will tell us how much clearance there is in the bearings. So that's pretty neat. Alright, these bad boys here are the shaft bearings. So these are going to come up. We'll put the plastic gauge in, clamp these back down, and then open them a second time and measure how flat the plastic gauge has been squashed. to get our clearance readings. You can see there's 6 of these big bearings on the engine. So it'll be fun for the engineers.
Good, just take the wrench. Go up on the studs. Maybe this time.
Alright, so as they remove the top half of the bearing, we're going to look in there and you can just see that little blue stripe of plastic gauge, which is now squashed flat so that it can be measured.
That's pretty close. That is the widest part of it, right?
This is number 1 bearing. We've already taken clearances on it. We're reassembling it.
Might come this way. Okay. Can you grab it? Not that side? Got it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'll lift up a touch.
Right. So this is a gasket cutter. We see the gasket we're trying to replicate here. We cut most of our own gaskets on this ship, but this is a little tool for making perfect circles. It's pretty cool. This thing has a blade in the end and spins around here. Makes perfect circles.
Gaskets?
Yep. Fitting the new gasket onto the valve. Now we just need to punch all the bolt holes.
Yep. I think right, the one right underneath my fingers on my right hand.
Fingers in your ring. Here?
Yep.
Yeah, I got that one.
Get all of them?
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. 6. Can you see?
Yeah.
1.
Well, there's another one then.
tonight we have a few other tasks that are kind of engine related. This is the ship's heating system. We do have a modern electric hot water heating system. This is because the ship no longer runs every day like she did in the 1920s, so our heating system needs to be completely separate from the ship's big boiler and engine and all that, because we often need to run it when the ship is sitting at dock. But it has a leak in it, and that's bad. We need to fix that. We have to keep the heat running 24/7 due to the cold snap we're having in Seattle right now, because it would be very bad if anything in the engine room froze. So the crew is going to replace the join that is leaking. Let's get to it. Doing work with a torch like this is called hot work, and doing hot work on a ship, especially a wooden ship, does require someone to be standing by who is certified to do fire watch, and that actually is me, so you can't see it, but at my feet is a fire extinguisher and a big bucket of water just in case something happens. Fortunately, Ken is very experienced and is not going to light the boat on fire today.
Very nice.
Okay, here you go.
So this here is Laura, who is one of our newer volunteers, and she is working with Ken, one of our more experienced volunteers, and is learning engineering skills and how to do various tasks around the ship.
Tightening this one though.
Yeah.
Don't fit
That's-
It's so funny.
Okay, we can always go back and tighten it, but
Should I
if
just
you,
make-
yeah,
it
just
has a
as
little
long
bit-
as it feels,
It's I think, yeah.
you know, all I can say is, after a while, the gods will show you how to do it. Okay, now get the piece we took apart.
As a volunteer organization, it is very important to us to pass on the skills and knowledge of this ship to younger crew members, so that the knowledge of how to operate a 100-year-old steamship does not die out.
Okay, now use this one.
If you are in the greater Seattle area and are interested in volunteering with the Virginia 5, you can always check out our website at virginiav.org for more information.
You know, you use that back end wrench 1,000,000 times, and it won't do any good. Then you won't use it once, and you'll bust something.
Yeah. It's like a little bit past hand tight.
There you go. That'll like stop on you because you're not going against the gasket or anything. You're going
And now I'm
right.
going to leave you with the soothing sound of Ken lapping a valve.